just to speak a little bit further on the lack of overlap between what the July and August 2009 Peel Regional Police graffiti photographs showed and mine. Was a surprise. I had actually figured that I would recognize more tags than I did. The other thing is that in my own driving and looking around, the tags that I documented, while they might still be there, they're the original tags that I documented a year ago. And I often don't see new ones by the same individual. And as I'm not quite sure how to interpret that. Peel Police has suggested that catching graffiti is very difficult to do. And catching people in the act, and that's not a surprise. So the question is, do the kids just naturally grow out of it, in the sense that they've maybe tagged for a few months and then just grown out of that, or whether they've been caught, whether they've been talked out of it by buddies? I don't know, but it doesn't seem to be something that for a lot of them they do for any length of time. For graffiti people who might be out there watching this and offended, I have to admit that I have not been at the Mississauga graffiti wall. I'm aware that it exists. I just have difficulty getting access to it, but it appears to run, I've checked Google Maps, and it runs along Streetsville. And I have seen the graffiti there, and there's a lot of beautiful stuff there. I'm talking about the artwork, because it is art. It's just unauthorized art, and therefore it's a crime. But it may be a crime, but it's still art. In the case of somebody spraying FTP on a post, don't convince me that's art. That's just tagging. One thing, just looking at the occurrence reports and the quality of the occurrence reports, who's ever writing them, the descriptions are excellent. The best occurrence reports also explain what the graffiti represents, and I'm satisfied myself that I'm beginning to recognize gang-related graffiti versus just a bunch of boys who are out on a lark. However, at the same time, just because somebody's putting up gang graffiti doesn't make them gang members either. It just means that they know the gang symbols, as do I. There was the underpass, clearly permission wall underpass, and it had been sprayed with, I know one of the words was white power. I can't remember if there was the word nigger in there. I seem to remember that to be the case, which again would make it clearly a hate crime. But what was interesting is I remember, about a year ago, maybe more, Councillor Katie Mahoney saying, we put up these permission walls, and when we do, other graffiti artists respect this art and won't draw over it. Wrong. They draw over it. And the best example to show that taggers will draw over other graffiti artists is just go to the skateboard plaza in there. Some of the permission walls constantly attract taggers. There's only one that doesn't, and it was done by a respected, well-known graffiti artist, and it seems to be that, yes, that stuff is not touched because people recognize it as true graffiti artists. The other stuff, I have to say that at this time last year, I don't think there was as much graffiti around as there is now. I think it's on the increase. However, at the same time, I also know that I'm much, much better at spotting it. So, and Peel Police also suggest that maybe there isn't as much, that the increase that they see might not be so much an increase in graffiti as an increase in reporting. there's a lot of question marks here. You see, I'm kind of struggling with what the graffiti says, but there's absolutely no doubt that if you are not, I'm talking about now people who want to understand youth and trends of youth. I'm not talking about the kind of youth that feel comfortable walking into that building. The youth that I'm interested in and the most at risk aren't going to be writing as much. They're more likely going to be expressing themselves on YouTube. Again, it's just a hypothesis right now. And I think in the case of video, YouTube is richer for the kind of research because sometimes you see incidental things. In the case of one video, I won't say what the subject was, but somebody was driving down Highway 10, and you could see out the window as they were videotaping out the car, there was a Mississauga transit bus and also a City of Mississauga transit enforcement vehicle. I don't know if it was a 301 or a 302 car, but there are these little snippets that you get, and then you can email the videographer and say, hey, can you tell me something about that incident? Or, hey, I noticed some really interesting graffiti you've got in your video. Can you tell me the location? And, you know, at first they don't want to tell you, but then when they start looking at your stuff and they realize that, yeah, you're really interested in researching and what they have to say, they do share it. When they really know that you're not reporting the location, you get I get emails and really terrific insights into graffiti and the tagging culture, and it is a culture. It's a subculture. But when you think about these people look down on, not just look down on, they look at taggers and graffiti artists, and the bad youth with the most contempt. And these people view themselves as decent folk, whereas the tagger is essentially an animal. I swear by all that's holy, what I've seen through freedom of information, what I have observed and heard, those ain't decent folk. What was really interesting is to be going through and reading each of the documents, and I matched the photographs up with the occurrence reports, and then I flipped the page and I saw big black spray paint on yellow brick, and I knew immediately that it was City Hall. And as I looked at the other pictures, sure enough, somebody, and I don't know the date, about in the late July, bombed City Hall. And it looked like they started at the skate plaza, went around the front, did the pillars. I don't know what those watchtowers are on both ends. But I want to make it clear, I will never report a location of graffiti and tagging, because when you're researching, if you report, what happens then is it becomes erased. And because of that, you have changed something in what you're researching. And one of the things I'm researching is how long some of these graffitis, graffiti meaning paintings or drawings, or tags stay up. If it's on public property, public works, I will tell you this, public works gets rid of stuff really fast. A lot of the stuff on private property stays up a lot longer. You know, Peel Regional Police and Peel Council say how much they try to work with the community. I had been at the Lincoln Alexander School lockdown, had an opportunity to talk to Malton residents, and they spoke very highly of Peel Regional Police. Every last one, including a Honda Civic, you know, with a dark tinted glass coming in with 3 youth in it. And you're kind of thinking, uh-oh, this is going to be a drive-by shooting. No, they rolled down the window and they asked what was going on. And those guys in there with the hats this way, they supported Peel Regional Police too. What I'm trying to do is anything that I remember, I want to record right now. And because I'm really interested in how much of it of my observations matches that of Peel Police. And wouldn't it be interesting if it's different? Because it really shouldn't be. If there might be different stuff that Peel Police record, but the ratio of the hate crimes and FTTPs and this kind of thing, the ratio should be about the same as my photographs. It should be. But we'll see.